This is Sabu playing up. You're listening to the Dave Dynasty Show.
My little itty-bitty bruiser buddies.
Sheik, United States heavyweight champion from Brazil.
The world's heavyweight champion from the AWA, Nick Bockwinkel.
The Midwest supporting, bruiser loving, positivity spreading, world's most dangerous podcast. Join former pro wrestler and promoter Dave Dynasty as he supports and promotes Midwest pro wrestling. Keep on growing with the Midwest Express. This is the Dave Dynasty Show.
Greetings and welcome to the Dave Dynasty Show. I am your host, Dave Dynasty. Thank you for joining us again for another free episode of the premier podcast that is bringing you the best in Midwest professional wrestling, past, present, and future. We're glad you're here. We got a great show for you today. We have ECW legend Sabu on the show today in a rare interview. He started to do a few of these because he's plugging his new book, Sabu, Scars, Silence, and Superglue. It's a great, great book. I highly advise you to get a copy of it. You can do that by going to ecwsabu.com, ordering your copy there, straight from Sabu himself. We have him on today, and he's just talking about the beginning of his career, his uncle, the Sheik, just stuff that is applicable here to the Midwest flavor that we have on the Dave Dynasty Show. We're excited to have it, but we had a great weekend here. It's almost 2 weeks ago now. Ike and I were in Muncie, Indiana for DCCW. I'm not a fan of the town of Muncie, Indiana, but the show was fun. We had a good time. WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi was in the house, and it was a great event as they were raising money and celebrating the life and memory of young Christian Doherty, a fan who had passed away. It was a great event. A lot of people coming together to do this, and hats off. It was a spectacular cause. Raised some great money for the family to help them through the hardship. We'll talk about the event a little bit here. I'm very happy. We had a new DCW Triple Threat champion, crowned in Mitchell Taylor. I'm a huge fan of Mitchell Taylor. The guy is spectacular. Has a great act. Comes out there with his young squires who are surprisingly amazing at working the crowd. Mitchell has an arrogance about him, and well deserved. And he is your new Triple Threat champion in DCCW. Hats off. Congratulations, Mitchell. The main event featured the DCCW Tag Champions, the Knights of the Squared Circle, facing off against the Ladies' Man, Mike King, and Dice Man Ronnie Vegas. It was great to see Ronnie Vegas. Been a while since I'd seen him. We talked for a while. Always good to see Ronnie. He's a great guy, a huge talent, and a wonderful veteran. If you ever got a chance to be around him, pick his brain a little bit and talk to him. He's a good guy, and he's got a lot to share. I'm a little miffed at the end of the match, or actually post-match, when the DCCW champion Mike King received a stink face from Rikishi. It's absolutely blasphemous. Mike King does not deserve such treatment. I'm not pleased. I guess you would call him my adversary now, Alakon House from the In Your House podcast. Was very pleased and very celebratory, but of course he would be. Khan got 2 minutes of fame on this show by doing an in-ring segment with Rikishi, and suddenly, he's walking around calling himself the director and thinks he's just, the pride of the business. I don't know, man. You get a cup of coffee in the show, and suddenly you think you're all that. And I got 19 years in this business. And you got a long way to go, kid. But whatever. And again, it was a great show. It was good seeing guys like TJ Kemp, Joey Owens, guys I've known for a long, long time. I saw some young talent that I'm very, very pleased to see. Some guys that I wasn't familiar with. There's a tag team known as the Original Sin. I was impressed with them. I think they got a bright future. There was a guy named Michael Rodriguez who, to be frank, I'll be completely upfront with you. I had never heard of Mr. Rodriguez, and I was extremely impressed with his talent. I think he's got a great future ahead of him. Split Rail was there. He's, He's got the talent. He needs a little attitude adjustment. I think he's a monster. And you know what? He needs to carry himself like a monster and quit pandering to the fans. But again, what do I know? I'm just a veteran, right? Just done it all. Something that the boys over at In Your House seem to forget. Khan and Hutch and Docs, they seem to forget. 19 years in this business I've done everything from managing to wrestling to running shows, everything in between. Been doing this podcast for over 3 years now. Fellas, you want to talk about where you're going and what you've done, just remember who paved that road to allow you. That's all I'm going to say. Again, it was a great time in DCCW in Muncie, Indiana. Highly suggest you check them out. You can actually see the event. We live streamed it. If you go to DCCW Indiana on Facebook, you can see the video from the live stream, complete with my commentary with Ike Isaacs. So go check that out. We live stream those every month, every show. So check them out. If you're in the area, though, come to a show. It's a good time. The Mad Jacks building is a great facility to host an event in. It was great. It was good. We've again got a great show for you. We're kind of always tweaking the show, right? We're always cleaning it up, working on that formatting, making it smooth for you. And we're doing that again today. We're going to take a break, and we've got a lot of great stuff coming up, so make sure you stick around. Hey, make sure you visit DaveDynasty.com. That is your central hub for everything within the world of the Dave Dynasty Show. From there, you can find links to follow us on all of our social media accounts. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube, which you will want to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have lots of classic wrestling, every episode of the podcast, and other exclusive features there. While you're at DaveDynasty.com, check out the links to help financially support the show. That is how we keep this free every week. You can go to PROWRESTLINGTEES.com/The Dave Dynasty and buy a shirt to help us out. PayPal.me/The Dave Dynasty to make a one-time financial contribution. Patreon.com/The Dave Dynasty to make ongoing monthly contributions. Or you can click our affiliate links for Amazon.com and HighSpots.com. No additional charge to you, but it helps us out. Thank you for your support, and check out DaveDynasty.com. Complete your experience, The Dave Dynasty Show. Dynasty approved upcoming events. September 7th, Chicago, Illinois, Ring of Honor Wrestling. September 11th, Louisville, Kentucky, Ohio Valley Wrestling. October 12th, Crawfordsville, Indiana, New Generation Wrestling. October 18th, South Bend, Indiana, Impact Wrestling. October 20th, Chicago, Illinois, Impact Wrestling. And November 2nd, Chicago, Illinois, Major League Wrestling. This week in Midwest Pro Wrestling History. September 4th, 1964, Wilbur Snyder and Dick the Bruiser defeat Nikolai Volkov and Angelo Poffo in Indianapolis, Indiana to win the WWA Tag Team title. September 5th, 1972, Big Time Wrestling in Mansfield, Ohio. Pompero Firpo beat Haystacks Calhoun by countout. September 4th, 1976, WWA champion The Strangler defended his title against Art Thomas in Indianapolis, Indiana. September 3rd, 1977, Big Time Wrestling in Detroit, Michigan. Terry and Dory Funk Jr. defeated the Sheik and Abdullah the Butcher by disqualification. September 5th, 1978, Council Bluffs, Iowa. AWA Tag Champions Greg Gagne and Jim Brunzell defeated Nick Bockwinkel and Bob Orton Jr. to defend their titles. September 6, 1980, WWA Champion Dick the Bruiser lost by disqualification to Nick Bockwinkel in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Are you looking for the newest and hottest in the world of pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 6,000 hours of the best events from over 150 of your favorite promotions from 20 different countries around the globe. Brands like Progress Wrestling, Evolve Wrestling, Combat Zone, Defy, PCW Ultra, PWX, Over the Top, Shine, and hundreds of others with fresh content added every day for only $5.99 per month. Get your free trial today at powerslam.tv.
Just use promo code DYNASTY.
Once in a lifetime comes an athlete so unique he defies description. Once in a lifetime comes an athlete so extraordinary, not even videotape does him justice. Since October 1st, 1993, ECW has been home to such an athlete. A man so insane, people flock from around the world to see him perform. An athlete so violent, you can't see him live anymore because he is banned from competing in the United States. He is the suicidal, the homicidal, the genocidal. He is the death-defying athlete known the world over as Sabu.
And welcome back to the Dave Dynasty Show. I'm your co-host, Ike Isaacs, and today we are joined by a very special guest. We are joined by none other than the homicidal, suicidal, genocidal, death-defying maniac, the legendary Sabu. Thank you for talking to us today.
Thank you for having me. Good year.
No, absolutely. Anytime, of course. So we wanted to talk to you because you have a new book coming out by author Ken Casanova, and we can recommend it enough. It's called Sabu, Scars, Silence, and WHW Publishing. And we're going to focus on early in your career and your Uncle Sheik, but I urge everyone here that's listening to hear about Sabu and his career overall. But Sabu, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. When you were a kid, Sabu, what did you think when you saw your uncle, the Sheik, on TV wrestling?
Well, when I started out, he wanted me to be the best basic wrestler there was, you know. So I only learned the very basics for the first few years. I didn't really learn any flying or anything elaborate. It was all basic hand wrestling, arm rock, hammer rock, stuff like that. Boring stuff. But the best are the guys who are the best. They're good at that stuff. But it's overlooked by a lot of young guys because they want to go to the prime and stuff.
Yeah, definitely in those early years, wrestling was a lot different than what you see nowadays, of course. So, like you said, it was good stuff. No, you're okay. But no, you said in your book that you wanted him to train you, but he wouldn't initially. What made him finally give in to train you?
Well, I wanted him to train me when I was a little kid, and he said, no, I had to learn how to wrestle first, which I didn't understand. So what he meant was I had to amateur wrestle first in high school, junior high and high school. So I did that, figuring out that's what he wanted. He didn't pinpoint say that's what I want. He said, I wanted you to learn how to wrestle first. So I learned how to wrestle first, then I came up to his house and I asked him to train me. He said, of course, you know. But not that easy. I had to keep going out to his house every day for a few weeks.
And that's an interesting concept. You need to learn how to wrestle first. So obviously you did. You got trained. But your training was very old school, right? You were taught respect and paying your dues.
Yeah, old school. Yeah, like back when I was training, a good wrestler was judged on how good he could think on his feet, not how good he could remember a spot. Now, if you could remember a spot, that's okay. If you could react on your feet, that was better. You know, like 90% of the matches, like their guidelines, but their ad-lib. You know, you had to put them together while you're out there. And the guys who could try to stay on their feet, were the ones who could say good.
And also during that time, you know, especially in those early years, the concept of kayfabe was very much relevant. Obviously nowadays that's a little bit different, but was that something that your uncle taught you, was, you know, kayfabe and respecting the business?
Well, yeah, see, I pointed out on a picture on Twitter the other day, someone said, it's a case SR Superfly, and they'd asked about it. And I asked about it. I said, it wasn't up to me. It's up to the promoter to call you anything you want. I was just happy to wrestle. So when I got to the ring, I didn't know what my name was. They go, hey, somebody, and look around, who are they talking about? Oh, me. I've done that many times. Because it doesn't matter what my name is, I'm in the first match just to learn. And know my role. I only did first match stuff, you know, nothing out of the ring, and no chairs, no tables, no blood, nothing like that, of course.
like you said, it was definitely different back then too. But
yeah, but that's old school training now. You practice your promos, your character, all this stuff before you even have a match. All that stuff comes later. You develop it as you find out what kind of wrestler you are, and you kind of the style you favor more.
I like your statement there about how nowadays that they learn how to shoot a promo and their character before they even have a match. But
wrestling comes first. The bottom line is wrestling. If you're not good at wrestling, who cares about your promos? Then your promo will be your second backup, So you're not good at wrestling, maybe you're good at promos. But first, you try to be good at wrestling, and then you progress,
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely feel like that should be the way of thinking now, but certainly sometimes it isn't.
And I feel like I had guys their first match in a death match. I didn't have a death match for 10 years. I didn't know what a death match was, other than somebody in the main event who wanted to kill each other.
Also, early in your career, you debuted as Terry SR, and said you never asked the Sheik that what the initials meant. So, what do you think, or what do you hear that those initials stood for?
Well, I've heard it was Sheik's Revenge, and also Sheik's Relative, or Super. Yeah, he said one time it meant super race, that Arabs were a super race, like the Nazis were a super race, but they were wrong. We were wrong too. But that was the rumors. I only heard it from him that it's a super race, but he said it as a joke, so I didn't believe him. And anybody who asked him, he told them to mind their own business. Because in those days, those are forgotten about days. We didn't know about that Sheik's Revenge sounds good to me.
But I like Sheik's Revenge. I think that one sounds pretty cool. So, but you were also, at one point, known as Terry Superfly Snuka, and you were billed as Jimmy Snuka's brother. How did that happen?
But that wasn't my choice. Believe me, that was put on me at the last minute. One day, my cousin Eddie, Sheik's son, which he didn't know about either, my uncle didn't, he goes, "We have a special guest tonight, the brother of Jimmy Superfly Snuka." And Mr. I goes, "Here, all right." He goes, "Terry, Superfly Snuka." I goes, "Terry, who's that?" I look around, but he's pointing at me. So then I was pretty disappointed, because I go, you call me something that, one of my idols without his approval, and I don't want to be called Supply, But it was funny. He called me Terry Superfly Snuka, and I was the brother of Jimmy Snuka, and I go, "Well, where's he at?" But I never approved of it. Like I said, you do what they tell you to do, and it don't work.
That's what I was going to say, kind of calling back to what you mentioned earlier. You just kind of go with it, like you said, because if you don't do it, you don't work. So obviously, since we're talking about your early career, later on, you had another professional wrestler by the name of Rob Van Dam, who your uncle also helped to train. Did you and him hit it off in the beginning?
Yes. He came out to a friend of our mutual friend named Samson. The guy Tom Bennett, he was a mutual friend of ours, and I thought, he's a good guy for me to beat up in practice. He introduced Rob to it, and I thought Rob would be a good punching bag for him, but he turned out to be more than that. I learned how to be back to it. I learned a lot from him, and he learned everything from me, and I learned a lot from him.
Definitely a good person to learn from as well, like you mentioned. But
when at the time when I was training these guys, I was 5 years in business, so I didn't really want to go back to step one again. I wanted to keep advances. So I tried to move Bob up as fast as I could, so we'd be at the close to the same level, so we'd bounce moves off each other instead of just him bouncing moves off me. And it worked. When my uncle wasn't looking, we did a bunch of crazy stuff. Then when he was looking, right back to basics, so we were the best at the basics. In the meantime, I trained, practice train, I always start out with the basics, headlock, lock up, headlock, armbar, all that stuff. I started with all that first, then I started doing whatever I'm going to do in practice.
So then also, part of your book as well was, you mentioned that when everyone started discovering that you were the Sheik's nephew, you decided to utilize that, and that's how the name Sabu came to be. But how did Sheik come up with that character of Sabu?
Well, Sabu, Sheik was a man of the actor Sabu in the Jungle Book. The actor in the Jungle Book was the character is called Mowgli, but the actor is called Sabu. In the 1920s, and my uncle grew up in the 1920s. So when he was a little kid, he used to put a towel on his head and run around that crazy like the Sabu, the big guy, did on the Jungle Book. And so when he got older, when he had a baby, he wanted to name his first kid Sabu, and my aunt wanted dog Sabu. So Sabu was a dog. He was a white German Shepherd. And then I was second Sabu. So to me, it's a God-given name. It's not a name I chose. It's a name someone chose for me. So I like that name better than Terry. It sounds better. So I react to Sabu more than I react to Terry. Only because, not because I'm egotistical, it's because I consider it a God-given name. When someone says Sabu, it turns the light out of my head and I look around and say, who's calling me? If someone says Sabu, I rarely look around. I know they're not talking about me.
Absolutely. And also, Sabu's buried than Terry, Superfly Snuka, of course.
Right. But I was just trying to keep a job. I didn't care if they called me. I was shocked they did that, but I wasn't happy with it. But I was happy to have a match,
So you worked in, you've worked in, pretty much everywhere. But earlier in your career, you worked Memphis and other areas and ultimately wound up in Japan. And that's where you kind of stayed to develop and help you come into your own.
One time, one day, somebody called my uncle and said they were looking for him and somebody else for a world tag team tournament, a world frontier martial arts wrestling, FMW. And the tournament was karate versus wrestling, wrestling versus boxing, boxing versus judo, and so on. And so we were the wrestlers, whatever. So they told him to bring anybody he wanted. He goes, well, I'll bring my nephew. They go, it don't matter who he is, just bring him. So he brought me, and the week before I go out, I go, Sheik, what do you want me to do different than I haven't already been doing? He goes, I want you to do that shit in the backyard. When you think I'm not watching, I want you to do it now. All the stuff I was doing behind his back, but I didn't think he'd see, he would see. Now he says, now I want you to do that stuff you think I can't see, do it in the ring now. So I did the best I could, and it got over, at the drop of a hat. And the Japanese started naming all my moves. I didn't have no names for them. I never did them in matches, like Arabian Press and all that stuff. I never did that in a match before, but they go, what do you call that, Arabian Press? I said, Arabian Press.
Arabian Facebuster sounds just a little bit better.
Yeah, and everything was Arabian Facebuster, Arabian, Sabu, everything. The magazines named me, and the fans named it. I didn't name nothing myself. I just went with it. And it's probably what I came up with. Like Arabian Facebuster, that's the leg drop of the chair. I would never thought of that. I would say leg drop of the chair. Yeah, and it came out naturally. It wasn't like a plan. I got a blueprint for this move. I didn't. It came out of nowhere, and the fans named it out of nowhere. And it was the best name they could name it. Actually, I just got off the road from we were in Chicago, I think. Yeah, Chicago for a pay-per-view party, and then we were somewhere else last night. The night before that. Anyway, we're back here. I got a horsey voice, but excuse me.
No, you're okay. I was just saying, the next thing I was kind of curious about, you've also said, and this is something that I've personally seen, like on our podcast, a lot of people talk about the Sheik. But when you hate when people refer to your uncle as the original Sheik, as he is just the Sheik. Since you knew him on a different level than most, tell us what your uncle meant to you personally.
Well, I have to buy it because he was my uncle. He took care of me like although, it was him and my mother were brother and sisters, so they were always close. But him as a wrestler, I was the best. When I was little, I didn't think that he was cheating. I thought what he was doing was surviving. Because everybody thought was bigger than that. I was a giant, Bobo was all his sons were giants, so he had to use their life by poking him in the eye, I guess. That's the way I looked at it. I didn't look at it as him cheating. So, but I never wanted to pattern my style after that. I wanted to work at it, and work at a different style, and then poke him in the eye, And everybody now tells me I should wrestle like him because it would save my body. But I'm not going to copy him at no cost if I don't have to. But I'll imitate him in my own way. I'm not going to just sit there and wrestle like him.
Right, and I feel like your style of wrestling is iconic. When people think of Sabu, they say, "Oh, this is what I think of," and they think of this iconic super unique style of wrestling. So certainly, you could definitely come into your own with that. But I guess one other thing, we've talked a lot about your uncle and your early areas of your wrestling career. But in addition to that, we've already talked about this a little bit, but how much did he instill in you about protecting your character in the business?
Oh, yeah, well, I would just say it's type of a character. It's the way I really am without having to hold back. Because I don't talk, I do all my actions, all my speaking, I do with my actions, and that's why I've always been my whole life. I wasn't a shit talker. I was a shit talker after you got me going, but then eventually come from before too many words, So I try to, my Sabu's character is just me being me, because I'm naturally shy. I don't like to talk in public. Never say I couldn't talk, just refuse to talk. And if I have to speak in front of people, you have to take it more. To me, that's work way harder than I know how to do. I get a lot of respect for guys who can talk. I can't. I'm not one that can talk and believe what I'm saying if it's not the truth. And also when I was a kid, me and my mother was watching some wrestling, and everybody was yelling and screaming, I'm a kid this guy, kid that guy. Everybody was the same. My mom goes, you're going to do this, right? I go, yeah. Wrestle. I was like 6 or 7 years old. I go, yeah. She promise me you'll never act like, never say a word. So I'm trying to keep true to her promise, plus I'm shy.
Right. No, I understand. And I definitely feel like it works into your benefit a lot of the time, especially with your character. But that's a good little story. That's a good little story. Keeping the promise. That's right.
But some of those, being fed with the press, if it's just me, I don't talk much. Like I'm talking to you because you got really comfortable. Like for 5 minutes from now, I probably got cold feet, so I told you I wasn't here.
No, I understand. Well, I'm glad we got a hold of you then.
Right on, I'm glad you. But that book, we put a lot of history and a lot of stuff people didn't know about Detroit or about my uncle's history. His history is a little more fascinating than mine because it's harder to find. So some of his history in there, I kind of cheated, but it's part of me, so that's why it's in there.
So actually, one last thing for you. I know we've talked quite a bit, just about your early career and your uncle. But one last thing we just want to ask you here at the Dave Dynasty Show is, since, you guys are very close with your uncle, do you have maybe a story of the Sheik that you can share? Maybe something that most haven't heard, any kind of like a funny story, anything like that?
Yeah, well, just one quick thing. We're speeding down Georgia, I-75, going south to Florida, and we get pulled over by this black cop. And that guy, the lights put on, so fast, whatever, and she goes, tell him who you are. I said, I'm Terry. He goes, not you, tell him who you're driving. I go, oh, I'm driving the Sheik, and goes back in the back seat. He goes, beat your man. I go, yeah. And then the Sheik comes like, wave to him, and he goes, you can't beat that shit. He goes, I bet you the fuck I can. He goes, all right. Got in his car, and he gave us an escort off to the middle of Florida. Yeah, it was funny.
I just wanted to thank you again, and for everybody listening. Sabu's book is Sabu, Scar, Silence, and Superglue from WHOW Publishing. You can get your copy and lots of other cool stuff by going to sabuandsupergenie.com and ordering it directly from the man himself. But it's been a legitimate honor getting to talk to you, sir. You are, by all definitions, the legend of legends, and I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us, and we're really excited about your book, so really we thank you for giving us some time just to talk to you. It's incredible. Thank you so much.
You got it, man. Thank you.
If you are looking for the best books, DVDs, and posters on classic wrestling nostalgia, then you want to visit crowbarpress.com. There are literally dozens of titles there, including biographies of the likes of Bruiser Brody, Ole Anderson, Ivan Koloff, and of course, Dick the Bruiser, as we've spoke about here on the Dave Dynasty Show. You want to visit crowbarpress.com for all of your classic wrestling nostalgia needs. Again, that is crowbarpress.com. right, and this is Dave Dynasty. Thank you for listening to the Dave Dynasty Show. Thank you to Sabu for coming on. He's a very busy man. Does not like doing interviews, a little out of his comfort zone, so we greatly appreciate him coming on. I cleaned up that audio as much as I could and everything else, but Sabu was literally walking down the street in Las Vegas as he was recording that. Doesn't get any more fitting than that. I'm telling you what. Thank you again, Sabu, for coming on. Thank you for listening like you do every week. And whatever platform you listen to us, please make sure you subscribe to us there. If you use Apple Podcasts, give us a rating and a review. We would greatly appreciate it, as it helps us in that Apple algorithm and our exposure. When we put these posts out there and share the episodes, and I share all the other things that I do on social media, please make sure you share those. Help us network and spread the word of the Dave Dynasty Show and what we're doing here. And again, you can follow us on all forms of social media. The easiest way to do that is to go to davedynasty.com. There are clickable links there for everything, as there are clickable links to help support this show and keep it for free every week. The ways you can do that are go to PROWRESTLINGTEES.com/TheDaveDynasty, buy a shirt, or go to PayPal.me/TheDaveDynasty, make a one-time financial contribution, or you can go to Patreon.com/TheDaveDynasty and make ongoing monthly financial contributions. Anything helps, even if it's just a few bucks. Throw it our way. Help keep this show for free for you every week. And again, there are clickable links at DaveDynasty.com for all of those things, all the social medias, all these support methods. It's all there, man. It's all very easy. That's what I do, and I do it for you. Once again, I am the mouth of the Midwest, Dave Dynasty. This is the Dave Dynasty Show. Next week, we will have another one of our historic deep dives coming at you. It's going to be great. John Lawson will be coming back on board to give us his memories firsthand of whatever it is. But check out Twitter. That's where we always run the polls to pick those topics, to pick those subjects of those episodes. But until next week, wherever you go and whatever you do, unless you are Alec on house, be good, be safe, and keep on growing.